The year is 1712. The Caribbean Sea is the most dangerous place on earth. This is the story of Captain Blackheart, the most feared pirate who ever lived. But before he was a pirate, he was just a man who lost everything. His name was James Morrison, a British Navy lieutenant stationed in Jamaica. He had a wife named Eleanor and a 7-year-old daughter named Catherine. They lived on a small plantation overlooking Kingston Harbor. Life was peaceful until Governor Thomas Bartholomew arrived. The governor wanted James's land. He offered money. James refused. That land was his daughter's future. 3 weeks later, while James was on naval patrol, his plantation burned to the ground. His wife, his daughter, 23 workers, all dead. The official report said accidental fire, but James knew the truth. Everyone knew. The governor had ordered it. James confronted the governor, demanding justice. Instead of justice, he got chains. The governor had him arrested for threatening a crown official and threw him into Fort Charles Prison, the worst prison in the Caribbean. Dark cells, flooded with seawater. Men went mad there before they died. James spent 6 months in that hell. 6 months with nothing but rage. 6 months planning his revenge. Then one night in February 1713, the guards opened his cell for the morning meal. The cell was empty. Chains still locked, door bolted. James Morrison had vanished. Some said the devil freed him. Others whispered about voodoo magic. The truth was simpler. His old crew broke him out. Men who had served under him. Men who would follow him into hell itself. 6 months later, a ghost ship appeared in the Caribbean. Black sails, blood-red hull. They called her the Crimson Revenge. Her captain wore a long black coat and a leather mask, covering half his face. Nobody knew his real name. They only knew what to call him. Captain Blackheart. The first ship Blackheart attacked was the Governor's Pride, the Governor's personal merchant vessel carrying 50,000 pounds in gold and treasures. Blackheart didn't just rob it, he destroyed it, sank it to the ocean floor. He left one survivor with a message carved into a wooden plank. This is only the beginning. But Blackheart was different from other pirates. He had rules: never harm women or children, never attack poor merchants or fishing boats, only target ships owned by corrupt officials and slave traders. To the British Empire, he was a terrorist. To the common people, he was a hero. His crew grew fast. His first mate was Solomon, a freed slave who could navigate by the stars like magic. His quartermaster was Anne Redding, a woman whose husband had been killed by a British admiral. She was the fiercest fighter on the ship. Over 2 years, Blackheart attacked 17 ships, all owned by corrupt officials. He freed over 300 slaves. He gave stolen gold to poor villages. The British put a 50,000-pound bounty on his head. The Saluides, highest in history, but nobody could catch him. Then, in July 1715, everything changed. Blackheart met a dying Spanish captain named Carlos Mendoza in a Tortuga tavern. Carlos was drunk, shaking, muttering about demons and treasure. "The San Miguel," Carlos whispered, "the greatest Spanish treasure ship ever built, 500,000 pounds in gold. Aztec artifacts, all lost in a hurricane in 1701. I know where it is." Carlos told him the story. The Spanish treasure fleet ran into a hurricane off Florida. 10 ships sank. One made it to Havana. The San Miguel vanished. For years, people searched. Nobody found it until 1710, when 7 salvage divers discovered the wreck near the Bermuda Triangle. All 7 divers went mad within a month. 4 killed themselves. 2 killed each other. The last one carved a map on his own skin before drowning himself. That diver was Carlos's brother. Carlos showed Blackheart a piece of leather with a crude map drawn in blood. "My brother's skin," he said. This is the only map, but the treasure is cursed. Aztec priests cursed the gold before the Spanish stole it. Everyone who touches it goes mad. Blackheart smiled. I've already lost everything. He bought the map for 1,000 gold coins. Carlos was found dead the next morning, drowned in shallow water. Solomon warned him. Captain, this is madness. Cursed treasure. We should throw that map in the ocean. But Anne disagreed. £500,000? That's enough to destroy the governor. Enough to fund a rebellion against the British Empire. Blackheart made his decision. We're going after it. On August 1st, 1715, the Crimson Revenge sailed toward the Bermuda Triangle, following a map drawn in blood on human skin. For 3 days, everything was normal. Then, on the 4th day, Solomon noticed the compass spinning wildly. We're lost, he said. Without the compass, we could be sailing in circles. On the 5th day, the sky turned yellow-green like a bruise. The wind died completely. The ship sat motionless in dead water. Then, at sunset, they saw 3 small islands rising from the mist, dark, rocky, covered in dead trees like skeletal hands. And there, in shallow water between the islands, barely visible beneath the surface, the wreck of the San Miguel. "Drop anchor," Blackheart ordered. "Prepare diving crew." But Solomon grabbed his arm. "Captain, look at the water." The water around the wreck was swirling slowly in a perfect circle, and in the center the water was black, not dark blue, black like ink. "We should leave," Solomon said. "Whatever is down there shouldn't be disturbed." But Blackheart had come too far. That night nobody slept. Strange sounds echoed across the water. Whispers, laughter, crying. The crew saw pale green lights beneath the ship, moving like living things. One sailor named Thomas started screaming in the middle of the night. "They're in my head, the drowned ones, the gold that bleeds." 2 men had to hold him. Down. At dawn, Blackheart led 20 men into the water. They dove again and again, bringing up treasure. Gold coins by the thousands, gold bars stacked like firewood, jewels, rubies the size of fists, glowing emeralds, Aztec artifacts, gold masks with empty eyes. It took 3 days to bring it all up. By the end, the Crimson Revenge sat low in the water, so heavy with gold it barely moved. The crew celebrated. They were rich beyond imagination. But Solomon didn't celebrate. He watched the divers carefully. The men who had touched the treasure most, they were changing. Their eyes looked distant, empty. They stopped talking, stopped eating, just sat staring at nothing. "Captain," Solomon said quietly, "we need to throw this treasure overboard now." "There's no such thing as curses," Blackheart replied. That night, Thomas took a knife and killed 2 men in their sleep. When the crew tackled him, he was laughing and crying. "The gold wants blood," he whispered. "The gold is hungry." Then he cut his own throat. 3 men dead in one night. The Crimson Revenge left the Ghost Islands on August 20th with £500,000 in cursed treasure and a crew losing its mind. The first week was chaos. 2 more men killed themselves. One threw himself overboard at night. Another climbed the mast and jumped, screaming about the drowned ones. The remaining crew started fighting each other. Men who'd been brothers for years suddenly became enemies. In 2 weeks, 15 men were dead. Anne Redding started changing too. She stopped sleeping, just stood staring at the cargo hold where the gold was stored. Her eyes had a strange shine like fever. "Do you hear them?" she asked Blackheart one night. "The voices in the gold? They're singing about power, about revenge." Solomon pulled Blackheart aside. "Captain, we've lost 15 men. At this rate, none of us will survive. You have to throw the treasure overboard." That night, Blackheart went down to the cargo hold alone. He stood among the gold and felt it for the first time. A presence, something old and angry. He heard whispers in ancient languages. Then he heard a voice he recognized. "James," a woman's voice. "Impossible." "Eleanor," he whispered. His dead wife's voice echoed through the hold. "You've forgotten us, James. This gold won't bring us back. This revenge won't heal you. It will only destroy you." You're not real, Blackheart said, shaking. Then why are you crying? He touched his face, tears streaming down. I miss you, he whispered. I miss both of you. Then let go, Eleanor's voice said gently. Let go of the gold before it's too late. A scream erupted from the deck. Anne Redding had finally snapped. She was fighting the crew with her cutlass, screaming about protecting the treasure. It's mine! The gold is calling my name! Solomon tried to calm her. She stabbed him through the shoulder. Blackheart knocked her unconscious and had her tied to the mast. Solomon, bleeding, looked at Blackheart. Now, will you believe me? Blackheart looked at his crew. 30 men remained out of 50. 20 dead in 3 weeks. The survivors looked hollow, haunted. He made his decision. Bring the treasure up, all of it. We're throwing it overboard. The crew protested, shouted, threatened. If you want to live, Blackheart roared. You'll obey. This gold killed 20 of our brothers. Do you want to be next? Slowly they obeyed. Chest after chest of gold, bags of jewels, Aztec artifacts. One by one, they threw them into the ocean. 500,000 pounds in treasure sinking back into the depths. But they kept one chest, the smallest one, maybe 10,000 pounds, and a single Aztec mask. We need proof of what we found, Blackheart said. As the last chest sank, something changed. The air felt lighter. The pressure lifted. The crew started breathing normally again. Anne woke up, confused and horrified. What did I do? She whispered. Solomon smiled weakly. You came back. The Crimson Revenge limped toward Jamaica with one chest of cursed gold. But the nightmare wasn't over. Governor Bartholomew had heard about the treasure, about Blackheart's voyage, and he was waiting. On September 15th, 1715, the Crimson Revenge sailed toward Port Royal. 30 survivors, one chest of treasure, and a captain who had changed. Solomon, Blackheart said quietly, when we reach port, take the crew and disappear. Take the gold. Start new lives. And you? Solomon asked. I'm going to finish this. Kill the governor, but alone. No more men dying for my revenge. They never made it to port. At dawn, 5 Royal Navy warships appeared on the horizon. Someone had betrayed them. The warships formed a blockade, and standing on the flagship's deck was Governor Bartholomew himself, smiling. Captain Blackheart, you are surrounded. Surrender the treasure, and your crew will be spared. Resist, and I'll sink you. Blackheart looked at his 30 exhausted crew members. They had followed him through hell, lost 20 brothers, survived the impossible. We surrender, Blackheart shouted. The crew stared at him in shock. It's over, he said quietly. As Navy soldiers boarded, Blackheart grabbed the remaining treasure chest and held it high. Governor, you want the treasure. Come take it yourself, or are you too much of a coward? The governor's smile faded. His pride challenged in front of hundreds of men. He boarded the Crimson Revenge. The 2 men faced each other on deck. You took everything from me, Blackheart said. My wife, my daughter, my life. And you've been a nuisance, the governor replied, drawing his sword. But nuisances can be eliminated. They fought not with pistols, just swords on a wooden deck. The governor was skilled, trained by England's best, but Blackheart was rage, pain. 3 years of grief, channeled into every strike. The fight lasted 2 minutes. Blackheart's blade found the governor's heart. Governor Thomas Bartholomew fell, blood spreading across his uniform. For Eleanor, Blackheart whispered, for Catherine. The governor died with shock on his face. 50 Navy muskets immediately pointed at Blackheart. Drop the sword, surrender, or die. Blackheart didn't drop it. He looked at Solomon, at Anne, at his crew. Go, he said. The lifeboats, now. That's an order. Captain, Solomon started. Go. The crew hesitated, then obeyed. They lowered the lifeboats and escaped while the Navy focused on Blackheart. Blackheart picked up the chest of cursed treasure and held it over the rail. You want to know about the curse? He shouted to the Navy captain. Let me show you. He opened the chest. Inside was the Aztec mask and the remaining gold coins. He put the mask on his face. His eyes immediately went wide. His body started shaking. The curse was instant, overwhelming. "Tell them," Blackheart said, his voice changing, sounding like multiple voices speaking at once. "Tell them that Captain Blackheart died free. Tell them he killed the man who murdered his family. Tell them he saved his crew." Then he jumped backward off the ship, still holding the treasure chest, the Aztec mask still on his face. He plunged into the deep Caribbean water and disappeared. The Navy searched for 3 days. They never found his body, never found the treasure. It was as if the ocean swallowed him whole. Solomon and the crew escaped to the Bahamas. They lived the rest of their lives in peace, never speaking about what happened. Anne Redding became a merchant captain, legitimate and respected. Solomon married and had children, teaching them to navigate by the stars. But on quiet nights, when the wind was right, sailors in the Caribbean swear they can still see a ship with black sails and a blood-red hull sailing through the mist. They say Captain Blackheart still searches the ocean for the rest of the cursed treasure, still hunting, still seeking revenge on those who harm innocents. Some say it's just a legend, a ghost story told in taverns. But divers near the Bermuda Triangle occasionally find gold coins with strange markings. Coins that make them feel uneasy. Coins they throw back into the water. And every year, on August 15th, the anniversary of the fire that killed Eleanor and Catherine Morrison, there are reports of a man in a black coat and leather mask standing on the cliffs of Jamaica, staring out at the ocean, watching, waiting, remembering. The legend of Captain Blackheart lives on, not just as a pirate story, but as a warning. A warning that revenge has a price, that some treasures aren't worth finding, that curses are real, whether you believe in them or not, and somewhere, deep in the Caribbean, £500,000 in Aztec gold still rests on the ocean floor, still cursed, still waiting for the next fool brave enough or broken enough to go searching for it. The San Miguel's treasure remains lost to this day, and maybe that's for the best, because, as Captain Blackheart learned in his final moments, some prices are too high to pay, some revenge isn't worth the cost, and some treasures should stay buried. This was the legend of Captain Blackheart, a man who became a monster to fight monsters, a hero who became a villain, a father who lost everything and spent his final years trying to save others from his fate. The ocean keeps its secrets, and this is one secret that will never be fully told, until someone is foolish enough to go looking for that cursed gold again, and trust me, someone always does.